Okay, record so I can send it to Telegram to you to show you. There's just a few things that I want to go over, and there was a lot that I wanted to cover, but I'm only going to cover a few things to make this short and sweet, because there's something I want to share with you that I want you to hear. But I feel in my bones that something like this year is going to break open. And if you allow it, and there might be discomfort, there might be fear, there might be questions, but I just want you to know everything that's coming, we have your back. Everybody has your back. And we just want this year to be magnificent for you. And in saying that, there's been some podcasts I've listened to lately. One of them was one that Rich Scott sent me. And it was, he basically just said in this podcast, it was about how does someone with faith run their business? And he mentioned in it, he said, God is your CEO. How are you showing up for him and his calling for your life? And it's also kind of like what Michael just talked about as well. Like if we don't do the things that we were told that we were meant to do on this earth, who will pay the price? And I love, he talked about his tombstone, and he said his tombstone would say, all used up, nothing left, did what they were supposed to do. And I just love that. So I want to share something with you really quick. I'm going to share my screen. And we all know Rock the Rhythm is happening this Wednesday. It's obvious, right? We want to make sure that we don't miss that. We want to make sure that we're dialed into that you're registered for that. But I want to share with you something from Bob Heilig. I'm not sharing the whole thing. And I just think this is really, really special as we go into this new year, because again, with what's happening in this new year, hi, Linda. I want this year to be about you transforming and really allowing yourself to be fully transparent, fully authentic, having fun in the process, and not getting caught up in the how, but get caught up in the being. And by being who you are meant to be, you will attract the people that you're supposed to attract. So I want you to listen to some of this audio, and then I'll share it with you a little bit.
A is where you were, the transformational selling system that we teach. I want you to imagine these 2 points, point A and point B. Point A is where you were right before you started your journey with your company as it pertained to building the business. And point B is where we're all shooting for, right? Point B is that's the transformation. That's the dream. That's when we finally have all the things that we wanted, the things that we're desiring, right? That is the destination. And when we're a part of this profession, we get kind of conditioned and we're taught that the secret to success is just selling the dream to people, talking about everything that the business have to offer. Now, I want to remind you, if you are a regular listener to the podcast, this is a stereotypical transactional sales conversation. Because remember, transactional conversations are focused on product. And when it comes to the business, the product is the opportunity. So when we talk about all the things that you can get on the other end of doing the work, the comp plan, the cars, the residual income, the time with your family, all of that, that's a transactional conversation. Now, I'm not saying that stuff isn't important, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be sharing that with people, but most of you are doing it in the wrong order. You're leading with it. Now, are there a small segment of people that hearing a conversation like that on the front end would grab their interest and attention? Yes, but I'm here to argue most of you are not going to recruit a lot of those people. What you're going to do is you're going to recruit a lot of people like you. And so here's where the major light bulb moment went off for Shannon. So I started talking to Shannon, and she told me how she was essentially selling the dream. And then I said, well, Shannon, tell me a little bit about you. Because the one thing that she was clear on, because we had already gone through this process, and if you're not clear on this yet, I want you to realize that the person that you are looking for, the person that you've been struggling to find, that you've been, scouring the internet and social media for, is not there. Every day when you get up and you look in the mirror, you're looking at that person. You are your ideal recruit. Now, not the you of today, the version of you right before you started. That's the point A. That's the person that you are looking for, that you have been uniquely prepared and qualified to help. So now Shannon already knew that because we had kind of gone through this process. But I said, Shannon, let's go back to your point A, right? We call it the current state. Your current state was made up or is made up of three things: the circumstances of your life, so everything around you, the problems that you were struggling with, and the feelings that you had about those problems. So it's made up of all the thoughts and feelings and just things in your life that you were dealing with. And so for her, it was actually a little hard to do. And this is the reason why when I coach more successful people on creating an I help statement, it's usually harder for them because they're so far removed from that point A when they started. And so they have to really kind of peel back the layers and think back to where they were in that season of their life. And so we kind of walked Shannon through, and she was there. And I said to her, I said, so where were you? She goes, well, I had just gone through a really nasty divorce. I was a single mom. I wasn't working. My confidence was at an all-time low because of what I went through. I was just feeling really bad about myself and life. And I'd been a customer of this particular company, and I really enjoyed their products. And she shared how her friend who sold her the products had been after her, over and over, you should do this, you should do this. And she's like, I just wasn't in a place where I thought that was even something that I could ever even remotely be successful at. And she says, but I reached a point where I was like, I have to do something. And she's like, as a single mom, I was limited in the work options that I had. And she said, this to me just made sense. So it was kind of like, let's see what happens. And so she shared the products with a couple of people and they bought. And she said, a couple of weeks later, I got a check in the mail. She said, I opened it up and it was a $56 check. And she said to me, she said, now you might not think that was a big deal. And most people that hear that, they might say, okay, yeah, so what? She says, but what you don't know is that $56 check changed my life forever. She said, because it represented something a lot more than just $56. It represented to me that I was able to do something that I previously believed was not possible for myself. And she's like, in that moment, there was this kind of glimmer of hope, this kind of spark of confidence. And she said, that was for me, that was the catalyst to push me forward, to pursue this as a business. And she's become incredibly successful. Her life has changed in ways she never thought possible. And I said, okay, Shannon, so let's think about this for a second. Think about what you're talking about to people, right? Selling that dream, selling that point B. I said, let me ask you this. If your friend, if she came to you selling you the dream, how do you think you would have responded to her? She's like, well, I probably would have just laughed at her and shrugged it off and never did it. And I go, exactly. And I said, you want to know why? For a lot of people, it's really hard for you to sell them the dream when they still feel like they are living inside the nightmare. There's a really important lesson here. I said, Shannon, how many times have you told that $56 check story? She goes, I don't know that I've really ever said it to a prospect. I go, well, that's your problem.
Okay. I will post the link to that podcast, but here's what I want. I don't know about you guys, but when I listen to a podcast sometimes like that, or you read a book or you hear a devotion, my mind starts spinning. And then that's when I'm filled with like ideas, or I think of messages that I want to get across to other people. And when I heard the story of this woman that today has a successful business, but has never gone back and told the story of what a $56 check meant to her, it made me want to go deeper into just reaching out and sharing the story of what it was like for me in the beginning. And I want that for you too. As we look into Rock the Rhythm on Wednesday, I want to encourage you in these next couple days to spend some time deep in thought, thinking about that person and how you feel, whether you're new. Jeannie and Linda, you're both pretty new to this, how you felt before you said yes to this. And I know all of us want to help people. All of us want to make a difference in people's lives. But I also know that deep down, all of us want to change who we are. We want to become a better version of who we are. whether you have lacked confidence, whether you felt sad, whether you felt some depression, whether you felt like there's got to be a way, there has to be a way for me to level up and be that person I want to be. There has to be a way for me to pay for things I want to pay for. There has to be a way for me to not work so many hours and not get caught up in the hustle. There has to be a better way. I want you to get really deep with that. And I encourage you to get deep enough to where you share that, because those are the things that people need to hear. It's not the perfect, oh, our company is about to take off to the next level and now's the time to get on board. Nobody knows what that means. And none of that means anything to anybody unless you can hit them where they're at right now and give them hope. So I just want you to think about, what are the messages that I can share with other people that will give them hope? Give them hope of better health, give them hope of becoming more, give them hope of having friends and an instant community, give them hope of knowing that a $56 check could maybe change their life if they got it a week after they signed up. I went and I did this branding session last week, and she talked about once a week setting aside 3 hours. And if that's too much for you, maybe you start with an hour. But the goal is you block a certain amount of time so that in that time, you can get into a rhythm of really thinking about the woman, the person that you want to talk to. And you set up like you maybe it's brain dumping or setting up stories that you want to share in bits and pieces through social media. And maybe you share them twice a week, maybe you share them 3 times a week. But you think of that woman, you think of you, you think of you and what you would want to say to her and how you would want to touch her heart and how you would want to reach out to her. And you put that on paper and getting that into posts, and that becomes the way that you're reaching out to people throughout the week. But by blocking it, you get into the rhythm of, oh my gosh, I forgot about this, or oh my gosh, I forgot about this with my kids, or how this is felt, or how that felt. And what this did for me today and listening to this is I put together a post of me with my girls in 2011 when I said yes, and then me with my girls last year. And I talked about how not all transformations are visible to the eye. Many of them you don't see, and how I felt before and how I view myself and carry myself today, and what an example that has been to my daughters being able to witness that. And then I did say at the end, a call to action, like, this is a year where everything's going to change. And what if this could be the year where everything changes for you? I'll post that post that I made in the comments under this on Team Act. And maybe just by reading it, maybe it will spark something in you that will help you to put something on paper or in the notes of your phone that you've, and I feel it, like some of you might start sharing that and your heart's going to want to explode out of your chest thinking about putting it out there for other people to see, right? It can be scary as heck, but those are the things that get you the most feedback, get you the most like, oh my gosh, that's how I felt. They get you the private messages, they get you all the things. Me talking about menopause and perimenopause last week got me more conversations than I've had in a long time. And that's vulnerable, right? You think about, anyway, that the vulnerable stuff is what people need to see. And I just want us in this new year, I just really wanted to encourage you to really make sure that you've gone deep with your goals, that you've gone deep with who is it you want to become in this new year, because I'm telling you, everything business-wise and what is going to be rolled out will give you the ability to create an amazing business. But if you don't authentically allow yourself to be who you want to be and put it all out there through tears, through fear, through getting sick on the sidelines because this is so flippin' scary, if you don't allow it, it's not going to happen the way that it could and the way that it really should for you. So I just wanted to give you a call to action to like do the scary stuff, because those are your people. You're not going to find your people unless you put the scary stuff out there. You're not going to find your people unless you get real and raw with your own feelings, how you felt before you started this, who you want to become, what you feel you're a part of now, and how much hope you have. That's how you find your people. Otherwise, they're not going to find you if you're not being you. That just makes sense, right? That's just common sense, isn't it? It's just common sense. So, let me look at my notes here real quick. Yeah, so that's what I put in my notes. End the Monday call with Bob, get you thinking about who you were, how you felt before this, how you feel after hearing that. Maybe after this, you listen to the whole thing, what you think about fear, how you think about having a vision for your life now, how you view happiness, and go write about it, and invite you to join me tomorrow, or invite people to join you in what will be one of the biggest years ever to really transform their life. Before you sell the dream, you have to connect with them with where they are. You don't find business builders, you help create them through your leadership. And leadership starts with us being truly authentic and truly transparent. So I love you guys so much. I just know this is going to be a big year, and I want us all to do it together. So congratulations, Jeannie. She just brought on a new team member, Angela, and Angela was on Michael. She was smiling through that whole darn thing. I was so excited to see her on there. What a cool thing for someone new to be introduced to Michael, because he can be in your face, but she just really seemed to do so well through all of it and be smiling through the whole thing. So that was really cool. And then also to Holly Freeman. She hit Pro 4 again and earned a $200 extra. You guys, a real funny story about Holly Freeman when she first started. I'll never forget. This girl was, she just was sharing. She had no idea what she was doing with the business. She had no idea how to do it. And one day she saw on her Hyper wallet, or however we were getting paid at that time, she had like over $300 sitting there. And I remember she called Jeanette and I, like she texted us and she's like, is that mine? And we were like, well, yeah, it's yours. She's like, so I can spend that? Like, that's my money. She couldn't believe that she had $300 that she had made in the business. Oh. When I crying is a good thing. And it's one of my gifts. Me crying is a gift. Oh, but I'll never forget that. What if you could do that for somebody, right? Imagine a new person calling you and saying to you, oh my gosh, I got an email and I just made $300. Is that mine? Is that real? And it like completely is something for them they never could have imagined. And then they get to go spend it however they want or in a place that they need it. So keep showing up, but show up as you. Show up authentically. Because that's how you find your people. Okay. Oh, hi, Diana and Laura. I'm sorry. All right. Well, I love you guys. I will post the podcast in the comments, and then I'll post my post that I made for tomorrow as well. And I just want you to stew on it. And I want you to think about something that you could put out there as well this week, inviting people to join you. Yeah, because it's going to be a big month, a big year. Okay. Mwah. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Bye.